Alright guys, today we're going to take a look at an updated list of all the prospects, the NFL draft prospects Cincinnati has met with after the Combine / Pro Days. So obviously we just had Pro Days and we're going to kind of see an updated list. Now I recorded this video 5 different times, and all 5 times my whole entire PC has crashed trying to record this video. No idea why, so hopefully if you guys see this video, then it didn't crash. Nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, I made a video 2 weeks ago talking about some prospects they met with at the Combine, which of course was, before free agency. But after free agency started, things got a little bit juicy, let's be honest. Starting off right away, the Bengals went out and signed Orlando Brown. That was something that we didn't really expect to happen. It was kind of known that Jonah Williams would be the left tackle going into next season. Well, once they went ahead and signed Orlando Brown, the biggest person that had issue with it was Jonah Williams, who it was kind of known then he would be playing right tackle instead of left tackle. Well, he has asked to be traded because of that. He said, hey, listen, I'm not going to play right tackle for you guys. I'm either left tackle or nothing. So if you guys don't want me at left tackle, you have Orlando Brown now. I want to be traded to someone who will start me at left tackle. Well, we still have not seen the trade go through yet. But because of things like that, what you're going to see is if we go back to this list, right? There are certain players who were not on this list, and a lot of those players were right tackles. Because it was kind of known / kind of understood that it would be a system of, okay, well, Jonah Williams will be right tackle with Carmen being his backup until Collins comes back. Possibly you cut Collins if Jonah Williams is playing good enough, right? And then Orlando Brown will be left tackle. Well, now that Jonah is possibly going to be shipped out, now Carmen and Cody Ford are the only right tackles on the roster at this moment in time. Obviously, Carmen's not. He's not a right tackle. He's a left tackle, but he'd be moving over to right tackle, right? So, it's one of those tricky situations. Now that Pro Days have started, Cincinnati have met with some offensive linemen. They met with 3 right tackles. Darnell Wright, DeJuan Jones, and Blake Freeman. Now, Blake Freeman, he technically is a left tackle, but he's also played right tackle. So let's take a look at all 3 of these guys. All 3 of these guys, for the most part, have red flags about them. DeJuan Jones, on paper, should be a top 25 pick. But there are some people who see a lot of red flags in him. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. But because of that, he is now a second-round pick. Some teams have taken him completely off their draft boards because of the red flags. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up working out. The Pro Football Focus has his comp as he has to be put in a certain role, but in that he could dominate. If you're a mobile quarterback, this is the guy you want at right tackle. Which, such an awful comp for a right tackle, in all honesty. Because to say if you have a mobile quarterback, he's going to be successful. The reason why a lot of offensive linemen are successful mobile quarterbacks, right, whether it's Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, whoever, or Justin Fields, is that as a tackle, if your quarterback's mobile, you don't have to block that long, right? Let's say I'm sitting there in the pocket, right? I'm sitting there in the pocket, looking down the field, making reads, making adjustments. You have to block for me. You have to keep your guy engaged for 3, 4, 5 seconds while I'm sitting in that pocket, right? Let's say I'm mobile. Let's say I'm Lamar Jackson. I could be in that pocket at 1 second, hike the ball, in the pocket. Next second, 60 yards down the field in the end zone. So as a tackle, you're blocking your guy, then you look to your right, Lamar's already in the end zone. You don't have to block that long. It makes offensive linemen look a lot better when you have a mobile quarterback because they don't have as much responsibility as a pocket passing quarterback. So to say that, this makes me think that he's not that great. But based on what I've seen from game film and based on what I've seen from him, he looks like he could be a stud in the NFL. He's 6'8", 374. He's a big guy. He's an absolute humongous guy. And where he wins is his size, obviously. What's his role? Right tackle. And what he needs to work on is his vertical sets. So again, there's a lot of red flags on DeJuan Jones. Some people think that he's going to be a bust completely. And he very much could be. Then the second guy they met with is Darnell Wright. Now, Darnell Wright is a little bit less of a, question marks around him. He's more of a straightforward listen. He played right tackle in college. He played 1,500 snaps at right tackle, 920 at left tackle. Where he wins is his power. What's his role? A right tackle guard or gap seam. What he needs to work on is playing on balance. He's a third-round pick, it says Pro Football Focus. But in all honesty, I've heard him go in the first round and first, second round, and mostly every mock draft I've seen. Wright is an ascending tackle with tons of experience against top competition in the class, chock full of inexperienced tackles. So again, he is one of those guys that kind of stands out like a star. Blake Freeman, he's a guy that a lot of people are he's loved and hated at the same time. That's what I want to say with him. Because I've seen so many people come out and say, listen, this guy's not him. This is not the guy. You do not want him. He has problems. He has this, that, and the third. But there's also people who say he could be a really good, decent player. According to Pro Football Focus, they do not like him. He's a 5th-round pick, they said. There are some interesting athletic tools to work with, but it's hard to see Freeman ever being able to hold up the power he'll see on a weekly basis in the NFL. His strength is his biggest problem. And right now he's looking at around a 2nd to 3rd round pick. Based on what I've heard from scouts and people, I made a whole entire video talking about him, and I really thought he was going to be that, that guy. But based on seeing more and learning more about him, I don't really love him as much. I really don't. So he's the 3rd guy they ended up meeting with, obviously, to eventually become that replacement for the right tackle position. Alright, so let's start at the top of the list. Justin Boyles. Justin Boyles is a safety from Oklahoma. He most likely will become an undrafted player. Actually, wait, it said Justin Boyles and Justin Mello. Is that his actual name? No, it is Justin Boyles, okay. Yeah, he's not on Pro Football Focus. Based on what I'm saying, he's a 7th-round pick, undrafted player. He's one of those guys where, again, he might not, be flashy in college or a player that you absolutely like, oh yeah, that's guy, we're going to draft him. But he could be a solid pickup for depth purposes after the draft is over as a possible free agent. Oregon State offensive lineman Brandon Kipper, he's another player who's going to either go 7th round undrafted. I see it says Justin, Mello, okay. So undrafted, or obviously he could just become a free agent. They end up signing him for depth purposes on the offensive line. Could be a pretty solid player. Now we have 2 players. One who's going to be a 1st-round pick, Emmanuel Forbes, early 2nd, and Clark Phillips, cornerback from Utah, who is a 2nd to 3rd-round pick. Let's talk about him. Emmanuel Forbes. This guy is a monster. And it's very possible Cincinnati goes with him at the 28th overall pick. Mainly because he's probably going to be one of the best players on the board at the 28th overall pick. He's a little bit of everything. He can play run defense. He can play coverage. He has a good coverage grade. Overall, a pretty decent player across the board. He is currently being routed as a 2nd-round pick, which really does make sense because that's really what he would be at this moment in time. Again, like I said, could go at 28th overall pick. But Forbes has some boom or bust aspects to his game, but he has the kind of athletic traits that can make up for his misreads. So again, he's a very versatile corner. He has really good ball skills. What he really needs to work on is his muscle mass. So adding around 10 or more pounds to play to his football style would be the best for him right now. Now, Clark Phillips. Listen. He's 5'9". It is what it is. He's 5'9", 184 pounds. He's a smaller dude. He's very much a smaller dude. And nothing wrong with that. We saw D'Angelo Hall come to the NFL, be 5'11", and be very successful. We have seen Darrelle Revis come to the NFL and be 5'11" and be very successful. But 5'9" will definitely spark some, I don't know about this one, my man, type of talk from him. From a lot of different analysts, teams in the NFL. And, it is what it is. He's a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I really feel like because of that. but he has a lot of great, amazing traits about him that he could become very successful in the NFL and help out whatever team ends up going ahead and going after him. So he does have a lot of really good thing about him. Now, the next D tackles on the list that they met with is Jermon Dexter and Brian Brees. Now, Jermon Dexter is a D tackle from the Florida State Gators. I'm not sure how I feel about him. The reason why I say this is because of the fact that nothing wrong with him, but this Florida State Gator squad, I don't know how good it actually is. Because there's now talking about people coming out and saying, listen, the reason why Anthony Richardson didn't look that good in college was because the receivers couldn't catch the football. You know, he was throwing the ball hard and they couldn't catch it. The team wasn't that good. The team was overrated. So because of that, everyone from Florida State Gators now, I'm kind of questioning or second guessing. Nonetheless, though, Jermon Dexter is a run defensive player. He's not a guy who's going to get after the quarterback. He's not going to be a guy that absolutely wins on the point of attack. He's going to be a guy who just kind of is a big, meaty guy, 310 pounds, 6'6", and just stands there and gets the running back, right? Which, again, you pair him up with DJ Reader, could be absolutely fine. Now, it's kind of funny because you have him, and then you have Brian Brees. Brian Brees is, and by the way, Jermon Dexter is going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. Brian Brees is a 1st round pick. He's a guy who's going to go within the first 20 picks, maybe 25 picks. And he is the opposite. He's a pass rusher. He's a guy who gets after quarterbacks. He's a guy who makes, big plays in the game. And again, he is a 1st round pick, but he's a versatile D tackle. You can put him pretty much in any defense, and he's going to be able to win on the point of attack in most defenses. Where he wins is his explosiveness. Where he can improve on is his creativity. Again, Brees is a bit more of a project than you like at the top of the draft, but he wasn't put in too much of a position to succeed in Clemson's scheme. His physical skill set is special. So he is a project, but I think he's a project that could work out very, very well for Cincinnati. They do go with him. Now, Nolan Smith, I love him. I absolutely love Nolan Smith. He's going anywhere from 15 to 25. Nolan Smith is there's no, second guessing / misunderstanding that the best edge rusher in this draft right now is Will Anderson, right? Will Anderson is an absolute tank. But, while Will Anderson is a tank, Nolan Smith is like a 1A, 1B to him. Because Nolan Smith is an amazing pass rusher. Where he wins is his quickness. Say pass rusher, run defender. That's what I meant to say, my bad. He's an amazing run defender. Where he wins is his quickness. What his role, 3-4 outside linebacker / wide edge. What can improve on? His size. He's a guy who's going to get after anybody. He's going to get after anyone who has that football within seconds. Smith is unique in so many ways with a lot of projected NFL traits. He's likely to be a more productive pass rusher in the NFL than he was in Georgia. So that's why I said that he's like a good pass rusher, but he is actually known for his run-stopping ability, but he's actually a pretty good pass rusher too. Nonetheless, though, Cincinnati does run a 4-3 defense, so he would be a 3-4 edge rusher coming off. I don't think he'll be available anyway for Cincinnati at their pick, so it's not really a huge deal. So that's thing to talk about. Now, running backs wise, let's go ahead and talk about the running backs because there are a couple running backs we have, and if we go back to our first video here, we have Cam Peoples, Gibbs, Tavian Thomas, and Zach. Now, Zach is the other player that's on this list that they did go ahead and meet with. They met with, where is he? They found an interview at the Combine with the Bengals here. And I'm not going to talk too much about Zach. Zach is a second-round running back pick-wise. He is a man who's an absolute monster. He's a bell cow back. He's pretty much like a Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon without his receiving ability. What he can't do really is catch the football. He can run between the tackles nonstop and be an absolute monster, but he's not a guy who's going to receive the football in any way possible. He's going to have to work on his route running ability, but he does have everything you need to just be a bell cow back straight up the middle without any hassle at all. So that is where he is going to win. Let's talk about the tight ends because there's a couple tight ends on this list. Dalton Kincaid, we have Sam Laporta, and we have Tucker Kraft. Now, for tight ends, I love this draft overall-wise for, tight ends in general. The top of the list has to be Michael Mayer in Dalton Kincaid. Now, Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer on the top of the list because they're very polished at the position. You have two very polished tight ends in both those guys who are going to be able to really win on the point of attack. They're vertical threat tight ends that both of them can actually block very, very well. Kincaid is more of the vertical threat than Michael Mayer. I feel Michael Mayer is a really good vertical threat, but he also can block better than Kincaid. While Kincaid is a natural receiving ability, is his where he wins. He's a move tight end, and when he needs to work on his muscle mass. You like to see him be a little bit bigger to make a defense, defense respect him as a blocker, but he's the best receiving tight end in the class. And that's really what the big thing about Kincaid is. He's a vertical threat tight end. And while, again, Michael Mayer is a little bit of everything. I've talked about many times, I absolutely love, Darnell Washington, mainly because he's 6'8", 264. He has everything you need. He just can't really catch the ball as amazing as he, we would like for him to be able to. That's where players like Kincaid and Michael Mayer very possibly are the one step up on Darnell Washington in that department. But when it comes to strictly blocking ability, Darnell Washington is one of the best tight ends in this NFL draft, bar none. Next guy we have to talk about is Sam Laporta. And I'll be honest with you, I have recently fallen more in love with him over the last couple of weeks. He wasn't a guy, a month or two ago, I was really looking at. He wasn't a guy I was really interested too much into. But over the last couple of weeks, I've actually started liking him a lot more. The reason why is because he's pretty much Hayden Hurst, but younger. He's a seam threat tight end, so he can't really block as well. He's not really a blocker at all. But he's a seam threat tight end. If you guys not know what the seams are, look at a football field like this, right? We have a little box. These are the outsides. These are the seams. The seams are the middle part of the field. He is a seam threat tight end. He's the guy who's just going to run that streak route, outrun people, and be able to maneuver people and get crazy good yards. So where he wins is yards after catch, what his role is a seam threat, and then what he can improve on is his catching point. Laporta has the tools to be a difference maker at the position. That's who you want to take chances on at the position. So he's, again, like I said, over the last couple of weeks, I've been really researching this guy, watching tape on him, breaking him down, looking at, how good he is. And he's actually a pretty solid tight end. And I've fallen more in love with the idea of them taking him in possibly the second round. Right now, he is anywhere from a mid-second round pick to a late second round pick. He's probably not going to find himself in the third round, even though it does have Pro Football Focus as second and third round. He probably will find himself most likely in the second round. But he's still a really solid pick. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, Tyler Croft is... I keep saying Tyler Croft, bro. Tyler Croft, obviously old Cincinnati Bengals tight end. Tucker Kraft is a South Dakota State tight end. He most likely will find himself going in the third or fourth round. And he's a pretty solid tight end. Now, again, he is a vertical threat tight end. His receiving grade is 76.6. Not really as much of a blocking tight end as, for example, Darnell Washington or Michael Mayer. But he's still a pretty solid blocking tight end, too. He's more of a vertical threat tight end. So you could find him in the third or fourth round. And he'd be a pretty solid piece to add to this offense. Next set of guys we have here are cornerbacks. We have Cameron Brown. And we have Kelly Ringo. So let's go ahead and talk about those two guys, as both of them are pretty solid cornerbacks. So, bam, bam, bam. Cameron Brown is a 7th round draft pick from Ohio State. He is 6 foot tall, 199 pounds. Pretty solid player across the board. Can't really stop the run, but he's a pretty decent coverage corner. He's a 7th round pick. He might go undrafted. Most likely he will be undrafted. Second guy here is Kelly Ringo, who's actually a little bit higher up on the list. He is probably going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. Right here has him in the 3rd round pick, so probably third, 4th round pick, I would say. What he wins is his size and his speed. What he is, an outside corner / safety, and when he needs approval, is anticipation. He's a pretty much decent all-around player. He has a decent coverage grade, 70.3. Not the greatest, but definitely decent. And his run defense is where he's going to excel in. and really help out Cincinnati if they do take him in this NFL draft. Again, like I said, 3rd, 4th round is usually where we're seeing him go. Again, he might drop a tad bit depending on a couple factors. Keanu Coburn is the next player on this list here. Let's go ahead and take a look at where he is going. Coburn, I know I've seen him many times. Wait, am I missing him? Let me see. Coburn. Nope, that's Kobe. He might not be in this. He might be an undrafted player or 7th round. I mean, undrafted or going to be a free agent. Yeah, he's not on this list here. So I thought I heard about him before. He might be creating some budge. Oh, wait. Is it Keandre? It is Keandre. He's right here. All right, so he is. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about him. So I want to go ahead and bring up this defensive line in general because Texas has created some really good defensive players here. We have Moro Jabo and we have Keandre Coburn. Now, Keandre Coburn is a 79.3 pass rush, 74.8 run stuffer. He's a 4th round pick. Pick the right game, and you'll be convinced Coburn is a 1st round draft pick. If you watch the wrong one, you won't draft him. Being so inconsistent as a 5th year player is concerning. So where he wins his leverage, where he's a nose tackle, and we can prove his consistency. Now, what I say is Keandre Coburn is a knockoff Moro Jabo. Moro Jabo is a guy I freaking love amazingly. 3rd round pick. Ojabo is a little too limited to go early in the draft, but his next team will have a high floor run defender whenever he comes off the board. He wins the consistency, 3-4 defensive end, and pass rush moves is where he excels in. He's a 91.4 run stuffer. This is what I'm saying. Again, Keanu Coburn is literally the knockoff Moro Jabo. If you guys have seen the channel, you know I absolutely love and adore Moro Jabo. So I would love to see Cincinnati take him over Coburn. I think Coburn has some really good traits about him, but he's not as good as Moro Jabo. Obviously, he's going to be a 5th round pick. Moro Jabo is going to be a 3rd round pick. So it really depends on, who's available at the time you're picking. But I would love Moro Jabo over Keandre Coburn in any way possible. Guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I think luckily we actually were able to record this video. Again, like I said, I'm sorry if I sound weird in this video. Or I said some things that were weird. But I recorded this video 5 times. So trying to just get all the facts out there for you guys. And this, for some reason, the universe did not want me to record this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.